Dragon, and today I'm here to do a video that I've been meaning to do for a while, and that is going to be my all-time favorite book characters. Now, before I jump into the list, I want to say two things. The first one being, this was an incredibly hard list to make. I've read over 500 books, as you know, over my entire life, so there was definitely a lot to choose from. Put on this list, that's for dang sure. And two, if your favorite character is on this list, one, that doesn't mean it's not a good character. There's just, personally, to me, these are the characters that are my favorite, as well as this is always going to be an ever-evolving list, as obviously the more books I read, the more characters I'll be introduced to, and so on and so forth. But anyway, let's just go ahead and jump right in. The first couple I feel like are not going to be any surprise. The first one being Percy Jackson and Annabeth Chase from the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan. This is one of the most, foundational series I've ever read in my life. I've been reading these for as long as I can remember. And those characters in general I just think are such great people and wonderful role models for younger kids, with just great characters to read from. They're spunky, they're funny, they're hardworking, they value friendship, they are honorable, and they're just really, really lovable. But the thing I think I love most about Percy is his humor and his positivity. It doesn't seem like he's always faced with tasks, and while at first he's like, crap, he always works really hard to find the best solution to get out of this problem, which I just think is really admirable. And then Annabeth Chase, of course, is just so smart and such a hard worker. And I was really wanted to be her when I was in middle school. I was like, I want to be a daughter of Athena. They're so smart and they get to learn so many new and cool things. So that's what I really admire most about Annabeth. Next up is, again, shouldn't be a surprise, and that is the trio from Harry Potter, obviously consisting of Ron, Harry, and Hermione. These characters. I said Percy Jackson was foundational. These are the roots of my existence, it feels like. Harry Potter is, as many of you can agree, just one of the all-time most, influential series ever, especially for my life in particular. Obviously, I could make a whole video talking about my favorite characters just from Harry Potter, because it goes beyond just that trio. I mean, there's Dumbledore, Hagrid, Dobby. There's so many wonderful characters from this series, but particularly the trio were always my favorite. Again, this element of friendship, they're hardworking, they care about each other, they'll do anything for each other. Growing up and even in my life, I just love reading about people who just love each other so much. As individuals, Hermione, obviously, I would say is my favorite of the three. She is just again, who I want to be. I want to grow up to be Hermione Granger. She's just so poised and smart and intelligent and hardworking. Again, Hermione Granger for president, please. Next up is one of my favorite fantasy series that I read a little later in life, and my favorite character is Han Alistair from the Seven Realms series. Han is just a super fun character. He comes from he comes from the least savory part of town. He is in a gang, but he is good. He cares about the people that are around him. It doesn't matter who they are or where they're from. And he's also so funny and sly, and not to mention I probably had a crush on Han Alistair for the majority of my life. I just really like him. He's just kind of mischievous, and he's just like a sly cat walking around, and he's just a great character to read from. Personally, loved him, and I will always love him, so yeah. Next we have Kvothe from the Name of the Wind series by Patrick Rothfuss. I think this guy is definitely on my list, besides the fact that he's a wonderful character, but we get to follow him literally from his childhood up into adulthood, so you really just get this full body picture of who Kvothe is, which makes it pretty much impossible to not fall in love with him. Besides that, he is a character that is incredibly relatable and honorable, but he's full of folly as well. He makes mistakes, and you can relate to those mistakes, and I just absolutely love this series, and it centers around Kvothe's life, so if you love this book series, there's pretty much a guarantee that you also love Kvothe, because I do. Next on my list is Tessa and Will from the Infernal Devices. These two characters are definitely my favorite of all of Cassie Clare's book characters that I've read again throughout my whole life. They are a OTP, and probably one of the first biggest OTPs. I was never so much impacted by this whole series, romance, than I think I ever was with these two characters. Tessa's relatable in the way that she loves to read. She's really, really sweet, and she cares about people around her. She's someone I really relate to personally in the way that I feel like we have similar personalities. And then Will is the pinnacle, smoldering, misunderstood, bad boy that works. And that's why he's one of my favorite characters, because like Will Herondale has been, again, right with Han Alistair, has been one of my biggest bookist crushes for like as long as I can remember. They haven't even been replaced and it's been so long. Next is Jane Eyre from Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Jane Eyre is a character that I personally identify with so much. I've mentioned this a lot on my channel, but Jane Eyre is a novel that I read senior year in high school, and it really struck a chord with me personally. Jane Eyre is, again, this character in this time frame where women really don't have very many options to excel, but she keeps her independence, she keeps her sense of self throughout the entirety of the story, and it's just such an inspiring thing. And also she is so fixated on things that aren't so materialistic. She doesn't really care that she's not the most beautiful. She wants to just do what she wants to do as well as she possibly can, and it's just really, I just love Jane. Similarly to Jane, I think this is why I love this upcoming character so much. It's Kelsey from the Tierling trilogy. Kelsey is just similar. She's just so driven and smart, and she knows that she's a very capable woman. This is set in a fantasy world where, you know, it's kind of medieval, so obviously like women's looks are considered to be very important. Kelsey knows she's not the most beautiful queen that has ever happened. She doesn't care, and she has no time for it. She is focused on what it's gonna take to get her kingdom to survive and like thrive in the best it can, and that's what I really love. We have this queen that just wants to work hard to make sure her country succeeds, and it's just, she's powerful. Again, she makes mistakes, which I think is admirable as well, and I just can't help but to root for her all the time because I just really, really like her. Next, we have Kaz Breaker from Six of Crows. Kaz is an interesting character because he is not one that I identify with in terms of like, man, I really want to be like Kaz Breaker. He definitely is a great character morally. He definitely does things I would never do. He's violent, he steals, he gambles, he kills people, all those things. I don't want to be that, but in terms of a character to read from, holy crap, Kaz Breaker is the man. He was my favorite character in the Six of Crows series, and that is saying something because this book series is full of amazing characters. His just perspective to read from was always so interesting. He is a man that you don't understand, so you love to read from his perspective to try to get a glimpse of who this person really is and try to, you know, give meaning to his actions. And sometimes there really is nothing to, you know, maybe he literally might have just done something because he felt like it, but he is a fascinating character. Next, we have Vin from the Final Empire. Vin is a quiet force, and that's what I appreciate about her. I feel like a lot of times in fantasy especially, and there's nothing wrong with this, but a lot of my favorite characters tend to be the women who are loud and, you know, very vocal, which again, I love. But Vin is kind of a different kind of powerful. She's quiet. She speaks when she has to, but when she does speak, people listen because she's saying something incredibly important. She's powerful in the way that she's very strong in terms of magic, and she also just like doesn't care about bullshit. She's just like, this is what I want to do, this is why I'm here, talk to me when you have something important to say to me because that's when I'll acknowledge you. And I just appreciate how she just like doesn't have time. She's like, whatever. So, Vin. And lastly is actually a standalone, because you'll notice a lot of the books I mentioned were series, because I feel like series are the easiest way to get deeply attached to a character. Not the only way, but I love a good series. But I have Mark Watney from The Martian. I just feel like this character, Mark Watney, is just one of the best narrations I've ever read from. This book is just about Mark literally talking to us through this whole book about him trying to survive on Mars, and somehow this man can explain science to me in a funny and engaging way and is also hilarious at the same time. And because of that, I loved this book, and the reason why I love this book is because of Mark Watney. Like, he is just a fantastic character, and the movie's not bad either, and I love Matt Damon, so maybe that has something to do with it, but like, I will reread this book and love Mark Watney for a long time because he is just so, like, I just want to like go to dinner with Mark Watney. Like, he just seems like such a cool guy, you know? Alrighty guys, those are my favorite characters of all time. There are a few that I was like, I want to put on this list, but it was getting so long, so I feel like I might make a sequel to this in the future, especially as I read more books. Please let me know down below your favorite characters. I would love to know, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Anyway, I will see you guys soon with another video soon. Goodbye!